Every new year, the marketing gets louder. More screens, more horsepower claims, more fake promises. But the truth? Some of these 2025 bikes shouldn't have made it past the test track. They look good on paper, but real riders are already talking cheap parts, reliability nightmares, and prices that don't match the ride. So in this video, we're ranking the 12 worst offenders, from mild disappointment to full-on money pit. If you've ever been burned by a next big thing, stick around till the end. The number 1 on this list will surprise a lot of riders. Number 12. Harley-Davidson Pan America 1250. It arrived with the roar of revolution, a promise that Harley could conquer dirt, distance, and destiny in one stroke. It was supposed to carry the brand beyond asphalt, into the adventure segment ruled by European giants. But for many seasoned riders, it delivered more confusion than confidence. Beneath its armor of technology lies a heart that beats unevenly between tradition and transformation. It feels engineered to impress charts, not the rider who measures worth in miles, not numbers. On paper, Pan America is an apex predator. In practice, it is a restless hybrid, unsure of its own bloodline. The weight that once meant stability now feels cumbersome off-road. The electronic aids, though advanced, create distance between the rider and the terrain. Riders who grew up on steel and instinct often find themselves scrolling through modes instead of shifting through grit. The bike tries to honor Harley's soul while speaking fluent metric, and the dialect does not always translate. For riders raised on chrome and asphalt, the Pan America feels like stepping into foreign territory. It's strong and sophisticated, but lacks that mechanical soul older riders expect. The power is thrilling, yet detached. The adventure crowd admires its innovation. Loyalists question its identity. It's the first Harley that feels more engineered than handcrafted, leaving purists torn between admiration and doubt. A reminder that evolution always asks a price. Harley-Davidson's leap into the adventure world arrived with the Pan America, a bold attempt to blend tradition with technology. Its 1,252 cubic centimeter Revolution Max V twin engine produces 150 horsepower and 94 pound-feet of torque, numbers that signal Harley's ambition to conquer new ground. And as the dust settles on this ambitious experiment, one truth remains clear. The next machine on this list proves that even legacy cannot outclimb over-engineering. Number 11. Triumph Rocket 3R. Power has always been the Rocket's calling card. For years, it stood as the thunderstorm of British engineering. A symbol of torque so massive, it humbled even American cruisers. But in 2025, that same power feels like a trick played on its own legacy. What was once raw and untamed now feels tamed by technology and burdened by excess. It is still intimidating, still colossal, yet somehow less alive than before. Those numbers should ignite adrenaline, but instead they ignite questions. The Rocket feels less like a motorcycle and more like an event one that demands preparation, not passion. Around town, it is an anchor. On the highway, it is a freight train. The linear pull is astonishing, but the soul of the machine feels absent. Riders who once sought rebellion now find refinement. The fury that made this name legendary has been replaced with management systems, traction control layers, and a silence where the chaos used to live. The Rocket doesn't ask for attention, it commands it. Every twist of the throttle feels like launching a missile wrapped in steel. Yet, with that dominance comes intimidation. It's too large, too expensive, too perfect to feel human. Older riders respect its muscle, but miss the warmth of imperfection. It's a masterpiece that trades soul for spectacle, a British thunderclap that reminds America what brute power can cost. Built for riders who crave overwhelming force, the Rocket 3R remains the undisputed heavyweight of the performance cruiser class. Power comes from a massive 2,458 cubic centimeter triple engine, delivering 165 horsepower, and an unmatched 163 pound-feet of torque. And the next motorcycle on this list proves that when identity gets lost chasing modern perfection, even the boldest machines can forget what made them great. If you're still here, you're clearly one of the riders who care about real performance and truth over hype. Hit that like button and subscribe to stay ahead of every reveal that the motorcycle industry doesn't want you to see. And sound off in the comments. What do you think they're hiding next? We'll be watching for the sharpest takes. Number 10. Indian Challenger Darkhorse. Some motorcycles look the part, thunder across the showroom, and promise the world once you throw a leg over. The Challenger arrived, carrying that kind of weight, a bold attempt to dethrone the American touring king. But beneath its swagger lies a machine torn between muscle and technology. A cruiser that tries to be everything and ends up feeling uncertain of what it truly is. On paper, that's a statement. On the road, it's an argument with itself. The engine roars with impressive numbers, but the overall ride feels filtered through layers of electronics and weight. You twist the throttle, expecting raw American punch, but the delivery feels restrained, almost corporate. The front end dives on braking, the heft settles in slow corners, and the thrill fades once the novelty wears off. It is a cruiser built by committee, one that tries to blend luxury with rebellion and satisfies neither fully. Every mile on the Challenger feels like a declaration of power wrapped in polish. It delivers strength by the handful, yet something about it feels manufactured rather than born. The torque surges, the ride is smooth, but the personality leans corporate, not rebellious. Longtime Indian riders crave the grit and growl that built the brand. Instead, they find refinement without attitude. A touring powerhouse that wins the race, but loses a little of the romance. The Challenger Darkhorse redefines American touring with its modern power plant and commanding stance. Its 1768 cubic centimeter Power Plus 5 twin delivers 122 horsepower and 128 pound-feet of torque, offering effortless torque-driven acceleration at highway speeds. And as you roll away, you can't shake the sense that the next bike on this list shows exactly what happens when even great design can't save a fading heartbeat. Before we move on, gear up right. Everything you need for the road is linked in the description. Number 9. BMW R18 Transcontinental. It was built to challenge American touring royalty, to prove that German precision could outshine Milwaukee muscle. It arrived dressed in chrome, heavy with pride, and armed with technology that promised comfort and control. Yet, for all its engineering brilliance, the experience feels clinical. It is a bike that wins on paper, but struggles to stir the heart. Beneath the gleaming paint and polished panels, the soul of the ride feels buried under its own ambition. Those numbers read like strength, but on the road they translate to strain. The bike's weight dominates every slow turn and every parking lot maneuver. The torque is there, but it feels muted by mass and over-refinement. The Boxer engine vibrates with heritage, yet the response feels dulled like a classic rock riff replayed through modern speakers. The technology is impressive, but it demands attention that takes the rider's eyes away from the horizon. It is power without rebellion, precision without pulse. There's no denying the craftsmanship behind the R18 Transcontinental. It feels carved from precision itself. Yet for riders who grew up with oil-stained jeans and American steel, this machine feels almost clinical. Its power is clean, its ride flawless, but its heartbeat is faint. It's built for admiration, not attachment. Every curve and chrome piece proves German mastery, but the spirit of rebellion never made the trip across the Atlantic. Germany's take on old-school cruising. The R18 Transcontinental mixes retro design with monumental torque. The 1802 cubic centimeter Boxer twin pushes 91 horsepower and 116 pound-feet of torque, creating a slow, revving yet powerful rhythm on the open road. And the next bike on this list reminds us that nostalgia alone cannot bring that feeling back once it fades. Number 8. Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled. It carries the right posture, the right stance, and the right soundtrack. Yet somewhere between its design and delivery, it lost the grit that defined the machines it tries to honor. What should have been a throwback to freedom feels more like a fashion statement crafted for city streets instead of open trails. Those numbers promise balance and agility, but the reality is something different. The Sled's suspension feels stiffer than advertised, turning long rides into endurance tests rather than escapes. The torque arrives with enthusiasm but fades quickly, leaving more noise than thrust. The high seat and weight distribution make low-speed control awkward, and the Scrambler image starts to feel more like theater than adventure. Riders who grew up turning wrenches and chasing dust will sense that the Sled is more presentation than performance. The Desert Sled looks wild, but beneath its dust-ready styling lies restraint. It's built to tempt dreamers of freedom while still keeping them tethered to comfort. The engine hums, the suspension dances, but it never growls the way a desert machine should. It's light, fun, and handsome, just not raw. Riders who crave the unpredictable might find it too civilized. A reminder that style and spirit don't always ride side by side. Ducati's Desert Sled captures freedom in its purest, dust-covered form. Its 803 cubic centimeter air-cooled L-twin engine puts out 73 horsepower and 49 pound-feet of torque, enough to tackle trails, while keeping the timeless Ducati charm intact. And the next motorcycle on this list proves that even when a bike looks right, it can still ride wrong. Number 7. Yamaha Bolt R-Spec. This model once had a purpose, an honest middleweight cruiser that gave riders a taste of simplicity without the heavy price tag. It carried that stripped-down confidence that reminded many of what old-school riding used to feel like. But time changes everything. What was once fresh now feels frozen, and the Bolt has been left idling in the past, while the rest of the market moves forward. The heart of this machine still beats, but it beats slower than the competition, weighed down by neglect. Those numbers were respectable once, but today they sound like echoes. The Bolt feels solid in design, yet hollow in spirit. The ride is harsh over uneven pavement. The suspension punishes long-distance comfort, and the lack of updates makes every mile a reminder that Yamaha has moved on to more advanced machines. It is a motorcycle trapped between categories too heavy to feel nimble, too underpowered to feel bold. The charm that once drew new riders now struggles against the comfort and technology offered by modern cruisers. The Bolt R-Spec rides like a memory familiar, loud and honest. But the years have caught up. Its simplicity, once charming, now borders on dated. The power still pulls, but the world has moved toward refinement. The Bolt refuses to chase. Older riders love it for what it was. Younger ones barely notice. It's a stubborn holdout in a polished market, standing proud but outnumbered, like an old soldier still wearing his colors. Minimalist and muscular, the Bolt R-Spec pays tribute to the no-nonsense cruiser formula. With a 942 cubic centimeter air-cooled V-twin, producing 65 horsepower and 59 pound-feet of torque. It's the embodiment of simple, reliable American-style riding from Japan's most consistent builder. The next motorcycle on this list proves that when a company forgets what made its machines legendary, nostalgia quickly turns into fatigue. Number 6. Royal Enfield Meteor 350. The Meteor carries itself with pride, dressed in chrome and nostalgia, promising a return to simple cruising. For riders who remember the early days of the open road, its classic design feels familiar and inviting. But when that key turns and the engine hums to life, the illusion begins to fade. What looks timeless on the surface quickly feels dated in motion. The Meteor wants to capture the past, yet it struggles to keep up with the present. Those numbers paint a modest picture, and that is exactly what you get. Around town, the Meteor is calm and approachable. But once the highway opens up, it feels overwhelmed, gasping for air as speed climbs. The vibrations through the bars and pegs grow stronger, turning long rides into endurance tests. The handling is steady, but uninspired, and the braking power feels just enough, never confident. It is a cruiser that behaves more like a commuter, offering charm but little excitement. The Meteor 350 has a quiet, dignity-steady, predictable, and gentle on the road. But it's built for pace, not passion. It hums when it should roar. For those who grew up chasing the horizon, this bike feels like standing still. It's not meant for the open highway, it's meant for the neighborhood. Nostalgia keeps it afloat, but it rides like a promise unfulfilled, a beginner's cruiser that never grows up. Classic, calm, and proudly simple, the Meteor 350 channels an era when riding was about the journey, not the stats. Its 349 cubic centimeter single-cylinder engine produces 20 horsepower and 20 pound-feet of torque easy power for riders who value feel over flash. And the next motorcycle on this list shows how even heritage brands can mistake nostalgia for progress. Number 5. Benelli Leoncino 500. The Leoncino looks like it was carved straight out of a designer's sketchbook, a blend of Italian heritage and modern attitude. Its styling pulls you in with sculpted lines, a bold stance, and a promise of spirit that feels familiar to anyone who values craftsmanship. But once the wheels turn, that promise fades fast. The Leoncino carries the right look, yet it lacks the refinement and reliability to match its presentation. It is a motorcycle that wants to feel premium, but performs like a prototype that left the factory too soon. On paper, the numbers appear reasonable, but the riding experience tells another story. The suspension feels inconsistent, the throttle mapping lacks finesse, and the overall quality gives away its cost-cutting origins. Riders often find the finish charming from a distance, but disappointing up close. Even with its European flair, the Leoncino feels disconnected from the road vague in corners and unsteady over bumps. What begins as enthusiasm quickly turns into frustration as the ride reveals its limits. The Leoncino 500 wears its heritage proudly, but once the throttle opens, that pride fades. The ride is light and nimble, yet lacks conviction. It wants to be both elegant and rugged, and ends up somewhere in between. The power is adequate, never inspiring. For older riders used to big torque and weighty presence, the Leoncino feels like a charming pretender handsome, but missing the backbone that defines real steel. Benelli's Leoncino 500 blends vintage Italian design with modern practicality. Beneath its sculpted tank lies a 499 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine generating 47 horsepower and 33 pound-feet of torque, offering smooth power delivery for city or country rides alike. And the next motorcycle on this list proves that when ambition outruns authenticity, even a strong brand name can stumble on its own shadow. If this breakdown has opened your eyes to how fast the industry is changing, subscribe now, because the next videos will expose even more before these stories vanish and riders like us are left guessing what really happened. Number 4. Honda Rebel 1100 DCT. The Rebel name once meant something simple, raw, and unfiltered. It stood for the kind of ride that invited anyone to hit the open road without hesitation or pretense. But with the newest version, the soul that built the name feels buried under electronics and compromise. The Rebel 1100 DCT tries to modernize a legend, but in doing so, it trades freedom for function. It is still a cruiser by shape, but not by feel. And that disconnect runs deeper than its gears can hide. The automatic dual-clutch transmission is its defining feature and its downfall. Riders accustomed to the rhythm of clutch and throttle find the experience strangely lifeless. Shifts feel sterile, lacking the mechanical connection that gives a cruiser its pulse. At low speeds, it hesitates. At high speeds, it overthinks. The seating position promises comfort, but delivers confinement, and the long wheelbase dulls any sense of agility. The bike feels engineered for convenience instead of communion with the road. Honda's Rebel 1100 DCT rides like a machine, trying to please everyone. The power comes smooth, the shifting seamless, but that perfection strips away the challenge riders crave. It's quick, quiet, and efficient qualities that win on paper but lose in memory. For seasoned cruisers, connection matters more than convenience. The Rebel 1100 delivers comfort, not character, proving that technology can refine a motorcycle until it forgets what it means to feel alive. Honda brings technology and torque together in the Rebel 1100 DCT, turning the cruiser into a modern masterpiece. Its 1,083 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine delivers 87 horsepower and 72 pound-feet of torque, managed through a seamless dual-clutch transmission. The next motorcycle on this list proves that even when the numbers impress, emotion cannot be engineered. Number 3, Ducati Multistrada V 4 Pikes Peak. The Multistrada V 4 Pikes Peak was built to be the crown jewel of Ducati's touring lineup, a machine that blends race-bred performance with long-distance comfort. It wears its ambition proudly with carbon accents, precision geometry, and an engine pulled straight from Ducati's sport heritage. Yet somewhere in its pursuit of perfection, it forgets what makes a great touring motorcycle: connection. The Multistrada is brilliant in engineering, but it feels more like a computer in motion than a companion on the road. Those numbers sound thrilling, but they come with a cost, both financial and emotional. The ride is powerful, yes, but detached. Every input is filtered through sensors and algorithms. The suspension reads the road better than most riders can, yet the experience feels sanitized. Long rides become exercises in adjustment menus instead of instinct. The motor delivers breathtaking acceleration, but the sound and sensation feel more refined than raw. For riders who value feel-over figures, the Multistrada offers too much control and not enough chaos. Every line of the Multistrada screams precision, yet it's the kind of perfection that feels unreachable. It rides like a weapon, not a companion. The V4 roars with power, but the connection feels filtered through layers of electronics. Riders chasing adrenaline will find it flawless. Those chasing emotion will find it sterile. It's the cost of progress, a superb machine that outperforms the soul of the ride itself. Precision and aggression meet in the Multistrada V4 Pikes Peak, Ducati's ultimate sport touring weapon. Its 1158 cubic centimeter Gran Turismo 554 engine delivers 170 horsepower and 92 pound-feet of torque designed for riders who refuse to choose between speed and control. The next motorcycle on this list shows that when technology takes over completely, even passion can lose its place on the road. Number 2. Harley-Davidson Sportster S. The Sportster once stood as Harley's purest expression of freedom, a simple, rugged gateway into the brotherhood of the open road. But in its newest form, that identity feels re-engineered beyond recognition. The Sportster S tries to bring Harley into the future, yet somewhere in the process, it leaves its own past behind. The steel grit and stripped-down charm that defined generations of riders have been replaced by digital screens, forward controls, and a personality that feels borrowed from a different kind of machine altogether. Those specifications sound fierce, and the performance delivers. The acceleration is immediate, the throttle response crisp, and the torque strong enough to pull a grin from anyone who twists the grip. But it is the soul that feels missing. The new platform trades warmth for precision, and while it handles with confidence, it lacks the familiar heartbeat that connected man and machine. The exhaust sits high, searing calves in stop-and-go traffic, and the ergonomics favor aggression over endurance. It is built to impress, but not to belong. The Sportster S hits like a hammer, but misses the heartbeat of its ancestors. It's fierce, fast and modern. But that raw, mechanical rumble, the one that shook hearts for decades, is gone. This bike represents Harley's rebellion against its own past. Riders respect the innovation, but question the trade-off. It's power without poetry, speed without scars. Beautifully made, brutally fast, and yet somehow missing the warmth of the road's old rhythm. Harley's modern muscle bike, the Sportster S, replaces nostalgia with cutting-edge performance. Its 1,252 cubic centimeter Revolution Max engine produces 121 horsepower and 94 pound-feet of torque, giving the iconic nameplate a fierce new identity. And the final motorcycle on this list shows exactly what happens when performance outruns passion entirely. Number 1. Bimota Tesi H2. Some motorcycles are built for riders, others are built for legends. And then there is the Tesi H2A machine that feels like it was engineered for another planet. Born from collaboration and obsession, it merges Kawasaki's supercharged power with Bimota's futuristic vision. On paper, it is an achievement of speed and innovation. But in reality, it stands as a symbol of excess proof that technology can go too far when soul is left behind. Those numbers are astonishing, but they do not tell the full story. The Tesi feels alien on the road, beautiful to look at, terrifying to master. The hub-center steering that defines it provides precision, yet removes the very feedback riders depend on. Each corner feels like an experiment. The throttle hits with violence, daring even seasoned veterans to keep their composure. Every moment aboard is a balancing act between admiration and anxiety. For some, that danger is thrilling. For most, it is exhausting. At the summit of motorcycle engineering stands the Bimota Tesi H2, a superbike born from Italian craftsmanship and Kawasaki power. The 998 cubic centimeter supercharged inline-4 generates a staggering 228 horsepower and 98 pound-feet of torque, a fusion of art and extreme velocity. Riding the Tesi H2 feels less like motorcycling and more like commanding a machine from the future. Its precision overwhelms, its power terrifies. Every input feels digital, detached from instinct. For purists, it's breathtaking but cold, mechanical god with no mercy or warmth. It's proof that even perfection can isolate the rider. A marvel to witness, a challenge to master, and a reminder that not all legends are meant to be tamed. So there you have it, 12 bikes that look shiny under showroom lights, but fall flat where it counts, on the road. If this list saved you a few $1,000 or a few headaches, do me a favor. Hit that like button so more riders see it before they buy. And I want to hear from you. Which bike burned you, or which one surprised you this year? Drop your story in the comments. Real rider experience is worth more than any ad campaign.